of him. Devin Booker, you're a great player. You're number 2 in this league. You could become number 1. You probably will become number 1 as this other player kind of ages out. But we have James Harden, the number 1 shooting guard. Woo! Who would have guessed it?
Who
It's
would have?
not like he's the best shooting guard since Michael Jordan at scoring. Um, yeah.
So enthusiastic, but yeah, it's, I feel like a lot of people, when you hear the names, when you say something like that, they're immediately gonna be like, "Oh my God, no, Kobe was better." But like you said, if you look at the numbers in terms of what's on the board, James Harden, scoring wise, is actually the best shooting guard we've seen, actually the best player we've seen since Michael Jordan. And I mean,
Offensively,
yeah,
at shooting,
exactly, scoring,
scoring
exactly.
buckets.
Exactly. It's a guy who, when you look at in terms of the points per game, last year, yeah, he was 30 in points per game, but the year before that, again, 36 points per game, as I mentioned in the previous clip. That's just, I didn't even remember that happened because in my mind, that's just so unfathomable. That's something that
And
you'd
guess what? He wasn't even an MVP.
exactly, because again, scoring is really, and even though he does other things, scoring is really just what he's known for. But yeah, like that season was seventh all time between the NBA and ABA in terms of points per game in a season. In the modern
And
era,
like we're talking about like all time. We're talking about since like the 60s, 70s,
with
where
Shane,
people were like where one there was one person on the court who scored 65 points and the rest of the team scored 18.
exactly.
Like this stuff doesn't happen anymore.
No,
I I remember seeing something about it was the stat. I can't think of what it was at this point, but it was essentially it was Daryl Morey was the one that was backing this up last year. It was someone that was tripping James Harden, or he was putting James Harden on the same level as Michael Jordan, and he said that there was a 5 year system of James Harden's prime with the Houston Rockets compared with 5 years of Michael Jordan's prime with the Chicago Bulls, and James Harden has actually put up better offensive numbers. Okay, that's not to say that the league is different. That's not to say that James Harden is a better player. No, but people keep forgetting that Michael Jordan was one of the best defensive players in the league at the time. Yes, he is an overall better player than James Harden, but offensively, Michael Jordan is the only person that's on James Harden's planet when it comes to scoring buckets. And beyond that, he is still a consistent threat to get anywhere from 8 to 10 assists per game. Like offensively, he's the best at what he does. He can shoot a 3-pointer from anywhere. He's really improved heavily at that. He's not Steph Curry from the three, but there's no one better at getting to the free throw line in the whole league. His pump fake just gets people every single game. You know what's coming, but you always have to defend him when he pumps up because he does just shoot that quick, and he will shoot that quick at any moment. So you know it's coming. You have to jump in the air, and as soon as you're in the air, it's usually 3 fouls because he's usually doing that from behind the 3 point line. It's the way he does that. It's never been done like anyone else ever. He does that on another level compared to anyone else in this league right now. The things he can do offensively, shooting wise, passing wise, playmaking, is just amazing. He's a consistent top 5 MVP one person, and all these people that are saying that he's not in that conversation because of his defense, his offense outshines at pretty much anyone, like anything that he can do on defense. He could be the worst player defensively, but as long as he's the best player offensively, he'll still be a top 10 in this league.
yeah, I mean, it's a guy who, at the shooting guard position, like we've alluded to, it's not even debate of in the NBA right now who's a better shooting guard. It's just a debate of who all time is the better shooting guard because no one in the NBA right now is doing the things he did. Not even Kobe Bryant. I mean, in reality, like I said, if we look at it, not only was James Harden that 36 point per game year seventh all time between the ABA and NBA, but he's also one of the only, or he's also the only player to have two top 15 spots in a points per game facet over since the ABA and NBA merger. As well, on top of that, he's the only modern NBA player other than Michael Jordan to have 3 straight years of 30 points per game or more, I believe. So it's a guy who the things we see him do, like I said, they're just unheard of. And we knock all these other things he does, and it's almost just because he's not as good as he is in these other areas. But when I was making my notes, I laughed by the end of it because unlike some of these other positions where, let's say, even in, for example, for small forward, where LeBron is first in everything up to about steals, where he's not a bad defender, but he doesn't lead that category. James Harden literally led every single category for shooting guards last year, other than field goal percentage, which went to Devin Booker. It was first for points for James Harden, first in rebounds for James Harden, first in defensive rebounds for James Harden, first in
Of course,
assists for James Harden, first in steals for James Harden, first in blocks for James Harden, first in offensive real plus
he,
minus, first in real plus minus, first in added by two over
yeah.
anyone, the highest efficiency for
It's
shooting.
funny. He's the best in steals because he's really ballsy, but he's extra risky, which actually which causes points against him sometimes.
Mhm.
But he can do that because he's so good offensively. Because he knows if he steals that ball, not only is it 2 points, it's probably 3 points.
He's just thinking in a different way than most guys, and that's why we think of it differently. Where if they had a real backcourt in a if they had a real backcourt in Houston, again, like we said about Mitchell, he'd have that help support down low. Versus they do tend to have a smaller backcourt, sorry,
Well,
they
it
do.
might be different this year. Cousins looking solid right now. Woods looking solid. This might be all mute points. They'll probably go to a different team, where we'll see his points go down because there won't be as many opportunities. But with that being said, that damn James Harden is a really good player. He's very deserving of #1 spot and
Absolutely.
very deserving of being in the top 5 in the league right now.
Absolutely. We just obviously would love for him to win an NBA title. We won't say too much more so we don't have another 24-minute video like we did about LeBron James. If you haven't
Yeah,
seen
people like it when we keep it under 10. So let's cut to the chase. James Harden, you're the bomb. No, don't be as ballsy defensively. You make a couple mistakes on there, but other than that, just keep doing what you're doing. Don't take advice from me. Just keep doing what you're fucking doing.
hopefully, like you said, they could win an NBA title because it would be a huge shame if people are trying to discount a Hall of Fame credit for a guy like James Harden because he hasn't won an NBA title. Because again, we're comparing him to who? We're comparing him to Michael Jordan. Like that's a guy who we know has to be in the Hall of Fame, and it would just be
Of
a
course,
shame if he doesn't win the championship, whether it's with Houston or he does get traded. We have some
he'll never get the respect he deserves.
absolutely never exactly just because of all the drama that's ever surrounded.
Yep.
But people
And right
forget too.
now, he's drama.
Exactly. People forget too that Kobe had a lot of drama as well. But with that being said, James Harden first in our list. We owe him a prize. Everyone has gotten a Canadian based. Oh, he's thinking. I don't know why he didn't expect this to come, but he's looking around.
I
I think the only appropriate thing with you having a Christmas tree in the back and us being Canadian would be something very winter based, something maybe maple flavored. I personally am thinking a box of maple cookies, like the ones with the in the maple leaf shape. Those are
oh
so I think those would be a
I
fantastic.
don't even know what those are called. I don't even know what those are called.
We call them maple leaf cookies. I feel like people would know what we mean, and I think those would be a great prize.
Hey, there we go. You called it this time. That's a good idea. I like it.
There you go,
It's
50 Christmas
for
prize.
the beard.
And,
Come on down. You're pretty much a lumberjack already.
and I mean, if you look at him, that looks like a guy who would just love these maple cookies. Like he looks like he has a sweet tooth. So I am pretty confident in this.
Let's just say he's not someone that looks like he's the most athletically gifted in the world for an NBA player, but damn, he's good at what he does.
He's that guy at the park who you see who looks like he's probably like 210 when he should be 170, but when he gets the ball in his hand and he starts
Oh,
dangling, like you should just like don't even
you
try.
stay out of his way. Just let him
Exactly.
score. It's all
Exactly.
good. Game's over.
Exactly. But that's all for tonight. We still have our point guard list to go. That's going to be a big one. We said shooting guard was deep. Point guards, they have a starting guy in every single team. That makes a huge
I
difference
know.
because they're
I
point
can't even
guard.
think of it. I'm thinking of someone like Ricky Rubio not even making the top 20, and I'm like, are you kidding me? But it's possible. Anyway, stay tuned, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, hit us up. Whatever you need, we're here.
Awesome. Have a good night, guys.